guys, welcome back to Texas Young Guns. If you follow our channel, you'll notice that we haven't posted a video in a couple of weeks. There's a reason for that, not a good one, unfortunately. So since we're new to the RV world, it's taken us a little bit to recoup from that incident.
We're a little scarred.
Yeah, a little scarred, but some good lessons to come from it, which we'll share with you guys.
Hope it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But it more than likely will. It's part of owning an RV.
That's right. So if you watched one of our last videos, you'll see that we went to Martin Dyes Jr. State Park. Beautiful park, by the way. I highly recommend you go and watch that video. One of our favorites.
Loved it.
Yep. So we were on our way back from that trip, and what we left out of that video is on the way back, we broke down. So on our way back, we...
Walter needs his moment. So everyone just... That's his good side.
Yeah, Walter's going to help us on this video. So we started having dash issues. We started seeing intermittent issues with the dash. So Atlanta smartly told me to...
Go ahead and say that again.
Atlanta so smartly mentioned that, or suggested that maybe we should take the back road instead of taking the interstate, which ended up being a very smart move. Yeah. So essentially, we started seeing a little bit of issues with the dash, and that means it was cutting in and out. A couple of gauges were going crazy. The voltage was running low, and so we figured at that point it would be safe to pull off. Another thing I didn't mention was that we started smelling electrical smoke, which is never a good thing.
No.
So we decided to pull off for safety reasons before we lost full power or anything crazy like that. When we pulled off, I walked towards the back of the coach and the smell got really strong. So I lifted our bed. We have a diesel pusher, so that's where the engine is. I opened the bed and it got really strong. So I knew at that point, just thinking through it, we have two main bays back there. We have a battery bay and a bay with all of our main electronics, inverter, etc. So I quickly got out of the coach and went back to those two bays, and it was pretty obvious what was going on at that point. I couldn't quite tell why, but it was immediate. The batteries were deformed. One of them was melting, spewing acid. A lot of wiring, you could immediately smell it and see it was melting together. Although at this point in time, I couldn't see behind the batteries where most of the wiring is. So I didn't know to the extent of what was going on. All I knew is that wires were shorting. Our circuit breakers were going nuts in the bay next to it where our main electronics are. So I knew the shorts were bad. At that point, I grabbed my tools as quickly as possible, and I took all batteries out. That's the two main batteries, which the clicking stopped at that point, but just to be safe, I went ahead and took out the house batteries as well. And after I got the batteries out and out of the way, what happened was the exhaust for the engine comes out on the driver's side. It runs out, makes a bend towards the ground. And at that point, there is a corrugated coupler that holds the exhaust pipe. And then it goes out from that point out to the muffler, etc. It's an unfortunate design because it holds the weight of that pipe. And so that pipe had dropped 5 or 6 inches. And I have pictures that we'll be posting as I'm talking. Unfortunately, we were so overwhelmed by the experience, we didn't think to take any videos.
No, we were on the side of the road, and we were not prepared to be on the side of the road.
No, Atlanta was having to make sure I wasn't about to be run over because
it was like a bad game of Frogger.
Because my butt was out in the road, and it was not safe, but unfortunately where we were, that's the best we could do. I would have pulled off more if we had the space. But anyway, so the exhaust came separated, and at that point, the exhaust from the engine was pointing straight at the battery bay. Now, according to our good friends at Google, diesel exhaust can run anywhere from about 900 to 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. If you want to correct me on that, you can in the comments below. So that's enough to definitely melt some plastic batteries, or at least a plastic casing. So
it was definitely
yeah.
I don't know anything about mechanics or electrical, but the other thing I knew that indicated, oh, this is bad, is when you open the door and there was soot all on the back of the door.
Soot, and it was a combination of soot and electrical.
Yeah, just the soot and the smell even indicated towards me, who is not a mechanic person, that it was fire related.
Yeah, the wiring had started melting together, which is why the dash started freaking out. A lot of the wiring was starting to melt to the frame, welding itself to the frame. Like I said, one of the batteries was melted to the point where it was spewing acid everywhere. Even the house batteries, the 6-volt house batteries that are below in the bottom bank, they had started to deform, even though they didn't have direct access to the exhaust that was coming out of the engine. Just the heat around the engine bay was starting to deform those batteries. So, this is a big deal for us, because now we're having to get our insurance involved, which we'll be able to review to you guys how they did. And we have Progressive, I'm not ashamed to say.
No.
So we'll definitely report back to you guys how Progressive does. We did try to utilize Good Sam, because we do pay for roadside assistance.
It's not so good of a Sam.
Well, we'll get into that in a future video. But
I'm a little upset.
Yeah, we're a little upset about that. But there's some circumstances there that we'll talk about in the video where there's some things where I don't think they could have done any better because of what they were thrown, but some areas where they definitely could use some improvement. So we'll go into that. But anyways, guys, right now we're at a standstill. We still have lots of footage, lots of videos to shoot out to you guys. We had a whole 2-week trip that we did that we're going to be giving you guys during the upcoming weeks. But as of right now, live action, as of January, our RV is down. Currently being looked at, and with still the possibility of being totaled. I don't see that, but that is up to our insurance. We love Stella, so hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, luckily where we have her, the shop that she was towed to is not too terribly far from where we live, and so we literally will drive by every few days and check on her and just be like, Stella!
But anyways, guys, that's where we're at. That's why we haven't posted a video last week, but we're going to get back on it now, now that we're not so overwhelmed. And we'll get back to you guys. We'll keep you updated and through our experiences. And as I've said before on this channel, we'll learn about this together. And maybe you can learn from our mistakes, things we did well, things we didn't do well, and we'll report back to you guys. So see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.